my god! What is going on out there? He's butt effing naked. What? Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Super Mario.
Is that what you're called? Are you guys the Mechaverse? You can steal that if you want, all right? I'm giving that to you for free, the Mechaverse, all right?
Hey everyone, Fire Emblem Engage feels like it's right around the corner, and to celebrate that, I thought it would be cool to make a big collaboration video. So I went around and DM'd this massive questionnaire to other Fire Emblem YouTubers and community members, asking their thoughts and expectations on Fire Emblem Engage. I told myself, I'm going to turn this into a watchable video, and I think I managed to accomplish that second goal perfectly. Before we get into it though, a word from our sponsor.
Do you feel like everything lately is just too anime? Then you're probably a Fire Emblem fan, and maybe this is for you. This is React, a brand new board game. The moment I saw this game, I was sold because it's on a grid, and I love grid-based games. React is right up my alley because as a YouTuber, all I do is reacting to things. Plus, I get to play as a dancer who spawns angry fish all over the place, and I find that super relatable. If that is not for you though, you can also play as an artist who spawns possessed paintbrushes. Or you can just dab. How do you do, fellow kids? This game really has something for everyone. React is made by Brother Ming, the madman behind Anna's Roundtable. I have played and enjoyed both of these fantastic games. Go to tinyurl.com/mechayousellout to back the Kickstarter and help get this game printed. The first 10 people to back the game will be among the first 10 people to back the game, so hurry up.
My entire
Hello, everybody.
internet.
Hello, everyone.
Getting up to Engage's release, I've been staying somewhat in the dark as far as
I
was kind of.
Okay, everyone at once, probably a bad idea. Let's try one at a time, and let's start with one topic. Let's start with the visuals, the designs, the arts, the hair.
Hey, what's up? Pabas here. I got a DM from Mecha asking me to share my thoughts on Fire Emblem Engage with the Mechaverse. Is that what you're called? Are you guys the Mechaverse? You can steal that if you want, all right? I'm giving that to you for free, the Mechaverse, all right? Regardless, I was struggling to put my thoughts into, put my thoughts together in my head. So I put together a PowerPoint presentation of the top 5 reasons I am super excited about Fire Emblem Engage. So let's hop into it. So here we go, Fire Emblem Engage. Let's get hype. As you can see, this PowerPoint is by yours truly, Pavis. So let's hop into it. Number 1. Holy smokes. Holy.
I really adore the French theme that everyone has with their naming conventions, and I really like everyone's designs within the art style. I do think the art style is a little cartoony, but I'm sure that it'll be less jarring once we're actually in the game and getting immersed in it and seeing everything all at once, rather than just seeing out-of-place snapshots of characters or animations for only a few minutes at a time.
I don't think I was in the minority to be disappointed when we discovered the leaks were real. The character designs were not what I was expecting after 3 houses. They're so freaking ugly. Unpopular opinion, I know. Anyway, then they revealed who the artist was, and I checked out their Twitter, and their art is gorgeous. Like, absolutely amazing use of color. But that gorgeous art just doesn't translate well into the 3D character models. I'm really disappointed by the lack of 2D portraits, because I feel like that would have done so much in giving these characters more personality. Right now, they all look like, all the female characters at least, all look like the same character, just switched wigs and clothes. And while the colors are still saturated, they don't look nearly as vibrant as they do in the artist's typical art.
Personally, I'm also not the biggest fan of the game's art style so far, but I do definitely think that it has its own merits. For example, it does have this cool flair where characters, including even the male characters this time, really have defined eyelashes. I mean, I personally didn't think that I'd be staring into Sigurd's eyes and glorious eyelashes, but I mean, that's gonna be a thing, so that's kind of cool. But overall, I do think the aesthetic is a bit more anime this time for Fire Emblem, even though you can debate how anime Fire Emblem has been since the beginning. I just think it crosses that line a little bit more than usual this time, and it does honestly make me miss the art styles of games like Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, and Fire Emblem Three Houses quite a bit. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that.
When Engage first leaked, I was kinda skeptical at first. A lot of the designs didn't feel like it was Fire Emblem enough, but I guess now that we're making a new entire game, maybe it shouldn't look Fire Emblem and something entirely, which gives it its own original aspect, which I think looks really cool. I'm actually really enjoying how the game looks right now, from the character designs to the graphic design. And if you're comparing it to Three Houses, like graphics compared to like Fruit Stalls, where you have the basic PNG Fruit Stalls, it definitely got a lot better in Three Hopes, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's getting to a point where it says, yep, this looks like it would be suitable for a Switch game.
I actually really like how this game looks. I might be in the minority of that. I think it looks a lot better than Three Houses, not only from a technical standpoint, but also from, I like the art style. I think the way that the eyes are stylized is, maybe this is just because I do cosplay, but like, I really like the like bottom lashes. Everyone kind of gets bottom lashes and like these big anime looking eyes. I don't know, Fire Emblem's always been a little bit anime. I don't think that the characters in Engage look super like the Fire Emblem style. I'm not necessarily saying like the character design, but I really like the overall art style of the game. The animations, the critical animations look freaking awesome. I like how the characters kind of bounce up when you first enter the combat menu. I like it a lot.
Thanks to Mecha for inviting me on to give a few minutes of my time to tell you all about the best things that everyone should be enjoying about Engage, because let's be real, my opinion is the only one that matters. One of the things I'm really liking so far about Engage is the diversity of the cast. Initially, I had thought that the 4-country split was kind of cringe and stupid. It was giving me Four Houses vibes, and I wasn't really having it. But now, it's starting to grow on me a little bit. I'm glad we're seeing a lot of really funky character designs that we wouldn't necessarily really see in a Fire Emblem game before. Like the over-the-top female Hisoka wannabe clown girl who seems to be one of the antagonists with the little heart on her cheek, as well as what looks to be an allied mage with stars all over her hair that don't really make sense in terms of physics, but I digress. The point is, the vibrant designs are really enjoyable, and it helps that we seem to be also getting a lot of different racial diversity coming with that too, which is always a positive. Most of the characters seem to have very distinct designs as well, and these help kind of contribute to their personalities as well as imply what classes they're going to be, and I love that.
I'm actually trying to avoid spoilers, so for me that includes pretty much anything about the game, character designs, etc., gameplay. To sum up like what I think about the game so far, the main character, like their design, I don't mind it. The red and blue hair is a little much. I think that maybe if they put a little less contrast into the red or the blue, it would look a lot better on the eyes. Right now, it just like hurts my eyes to see. With the few characters that I have seen so far, especially the female ones, I'm very disappointed in. Because so far this game feels a lot more like Genshin Impact or like any generic anime game as opposed to a Fire Emblem game. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from some of the character designs. Like it almost feels like every character could be like a VTuber model, which is like, it's neat in some aspects, but it doesn't feel like a Fire Emblem game to me personally. To others that could be different.
For me, the most exciting thing about the game is actually its art direction. I know there's been a lot of commentary already about the different character designs, and yes, those are very much hit and miss. Obviously, with big casts that you have in Fire Emblem games, it can be very difficult to make a cast of all great character designs, and I am going to reserve judgment on my overall thoughts on that until the game comes out and we really get a sense of who all the characters are and chance to be with them. But what I do really like is the art direction itself. I like the emphasis on more colors, on more dynamic animations. I like the fact that just the general animations have more running, kicking, flipping, jumping. We've got much brighter, much more saturated look compared to Three Houses, which was pretty gray, pretty brown.
Red and blue hair. I feel like I'm pretty qualified to have an opinion on this. considering I made this, and I don't know if I have a strong opinion on it. It's a lot going on, but honestly, it's kind of fun. I don't even think Alear is the wildest looking character. The candy cane hair chick is the wildest looking character in this game. Like, Alear's not even that bad.
But I think with Fire Emblem, especially this kind of story that Engage looks like it's trying to get in, which is, you know, big dragons, big fantasy, big crazy, it's nice to have much more colorful designs, which is something that we have not seen a whole lot in Fire Emblem since the GBA days. So I'm quite excited for that. That does extend over into Alear's red and blue hair. I think it is a little silly, but, you know, I mean, silliness is... I don't mind silliness. I can kind of dig it, with just how bombastically stupid it is.
I've already made a video on Alear's hair color. The hair, I'm still kind of torn between it, but after looking at the newest trailer, I guess it's supposed to say that half of this person is a good person and half is a bad, considering how we saw one where he has full red hair.
My entire internet personality revolves around playing JRPGs which contain characters with ridiculous hairdos, and you'd think Fire Emblem Engage would be right up my alley. Sadly, no. This is not a pissing contest, Nintendo. What are you doing? The MC's hair is undesirable. Yet, you know, Weapon Triangle's back, so you know, I'll try it.
How about the game mechanics? Maybe the break mechanic?
I do think the summoning mechanic is a really interesting and fun way to celebrate a long history of Fire Emblem games, and I actually really look forward to seeing these characters again and using them in a mainline game. I am curious to learn how exactly you unlock each summon and whether or not any of them are optional. Like, for example, can I go through the game and end up missing or skipping one of the rings on purpose or on accident even?
One thing that I'm very curious about with the game from a gameplay perspective is that they've brought Weapon Triangle back and they're incorporating the break mechanic. Now, I'm not going to comment too much on this, obviously, until we get our hands on the game and really get a time to play with it, but the break mechanic seems very cool. It also seems like it could go very, very wrong if our current understanding of it is correct. The ability to just prevent counterattacks seems very strong. And assuming that the enemy can do it back to you, it seems like it'll make the game very heavily player phase focused. My concern is that it works in such a way where you just would prefer to never engage in enemy phase, which I think would be a shame, because my favorite thing about Fire Emblem from a gameplay perspective is honestly figuring out enemy phases and working with those. A lot of tactics games either don't have enemy phases because they have rotating turn orders like Berwick Saga, or you just don't retaliate at all. I think it's a unique thing in Fire Emblem, the turn structure, and having an enemy phase to work with, and I want to see that remain as robust as possible.
I also really like the new, well, I wouldn't say it's a triangle system now, it's more like fist break everything. But knowing that gauntlets break 3 things kind of makes me happy. I understand if people are a bit iffy with that. Here's to hoping that we get like a fate type map and it's just a lot of units with gauntlets.
As far as game mechanics go, I do not have a large wish list of mechanics that I do or do not want to see. My general approach with all games really is that whatever a game's mechanics are, I will learn them, and I will learn how to play that game just within its own environment. Now, while I haven't been able to completely verify this as fact, I do think some of the screenshots of inventories indicate that staves and items have durability, whereas weapons do not. And I would be a little disappointed to see weapon durability go away. It's by far my favorite mechanic in all Fire Emblem, but I'm sure that if it goes away, there will be some other system added to weapons that I will get to learn instead.
I hope that the break mechanic doesn't break the game. But I am really excited to see the weapon triangle back. I think in 3 Houses, it was better off not being there, just with basically any character being to use, just with any character being to use basically any weapon. Just with any character being able to basically use any weapon. I think with the weapon triangle fully integrated, it would have just given everyone a little too much control over their situations, especially with like trading and stuff for enemy phase. And then with the breaker skills, once you really invest in a certain weapon, it does kind of have a little bit of a callback. But overall, I think that the weapon triangle is a lot better not being implemented in Three Houses, but I just think it's a core part of Fire Emblem. So I think just having it back in any kind of way in Engage is really refreshing.
One thing that I really hope is in the game that will likely be there, because I can't think of a recent Fire Emblem game that doesn't have crazy movement tech, but is crazy movement tech. I want psychotic movement options. Obviously, it does not look like we're going to have things like pair up back in the game. But as long as we have lots of crazy combat arts, lots of different ways to move characters around, that to me is one of the things I just love about Fire Emblem. I love weird movement. I love the ability to have lots of options with how you move. It gives you just a big palette to paint with on player phase, and it gives you a lot of ways to get out of sticky situations. And I'm glad that even as the series has embraced turn wheel and a lot more uncertainty and chaos, they did not sacrifice weird and wild movement in Three Houses, and I really hope that that continues. I know there has been some concern going back, and maybe this isn't relevant anymore, to the low movement on some of the classes. I personally don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, especially if the wild tech makes a comeback, forms of shove and reposition and warps and rescues and dances and more dances and combat arts that yoink you to other parts, like grappling hook just on the other side of the enemy, just ka-choom, and get there, and lots of crazy stuff they could do. And so I hope we have lots of psychotic movement options.
All right, how about we freestyle for the last round?
However, I will say that the battle animations are definitely looking to be quite excellent this time around, and probably some of the best that we've ever gotten in the series. The fluidity is really impressive of the characters. We've never gotten fluidity quite to this level before. The sound design seems a notch above what we've ever gotten as well. The weapon sounds sound great, and there's also a real sense of weapon weight this time, especially with characters jumping back after attacking. It just seems to flow really, really well and smoothly, and it sounds so good. There's a real sense of that chaotic action, and I think it's gonna be absolutely stellar. How could I also not mention that flashy crit animations seem to be back? At least the past couple entries, they haven't been quite so flashy, but this time they're looking like they are a little bit more special than usual, and I can definitely appreciate that.
At the end of the day, what drew me into Fire Emblem are the core mechanics. As long as those don't change, I think I'll have a good time. Also, the combat animations look super clean. Except for the Pegasi that sink to the ground when they flap their wings. Hope they fix that.
And if I'm being honest, I like the marketing that I've seen so far, though I am a person that tries not to see so many trailers because I just want to see one, and I'm like, right, I want to leave all the surprises in the game. Like, just show me like a basic 3-minute trailer, sorted, like in the direct. But yeah, the way they're marketing it on like Twitter and YouTube everywhere, it's I think it's pretty good for a Fire Emblem game, marketing at least.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I also, I kind of want to delve into the amount of attention this game is getting. Fire Emblem Three Houses did very, very well, especially historically in the Fire Emblem franchise. So I'm very, very excited that this game is getting so much attention, so many trailers, so many like tweets about this one little game. Well, not even a little game, it's a main series, Fire Emblem is for Nintendo. And I'm really happy that this is getting that type of attention, because as we have seen in the past with like Fire Emblem Echoes, marketing is a very, very big factor in whether a game can do poorly or whether a game can do very, very well. It's not the sole factor, but Fire Emblem Echoes is a very, very good 3DS game that somewhat did kind of poorly in sales, and a lot of that is to do with, I think, marketing.
In the interest of time and also not giving away all of my amazing video ideas, I'm gonna keep this part brief because I could also talk for years about the closing scene of the new trailer. In that scene, we see a mono-colored hair Aleer, who is so obviously meant to be villainous that it immediately grabs my attention. I was joking about short-haired Arvis and the Battle of Belhalla on Twitter, but I'm actually really interested to see sort of the origin story behind this and how it all ties together. I have always said that interesting villains are what make good games into great games, and this has me absolutely salivating for more details. Of course, there are a lot of things I could go on and on about, but Mecha said I only have 5 minutes or he's sending me back to Fodlan for another year, and I know both you and me don't want that. So this is Link King 7 signing out. Peace.
And of course, I owe you guys the rest of Paviz's amazing PowerPoint presentation.
All right. Number 2, the UI gonna make me act up, bro. Man, this UI is actually beautiful. This might be my favorite Fire Emblem UI I think they've done so far. The way it shows the flow of the attack at the bottom of the screen, the little ready-ups they do before battle in the presentation, it's concise, it's clear, presents new and interesting information, just looks great. Love the new UI. Number 3, Anima's back on the animations. Let's go. If you don't know, Studio Anima, they did the cutscenes for Fates, they did it for Awakening, they also did the Fire Emblem Heroes cutscenes, and they're back on Fire Emblem Engage. I can't wait to see all these classic Fire Emblem Fire Emblem characters rendered in their style. Is gonna look absolutely beautiful. Let's go. All right. Number 4, this mechanic break seems absolutely messed up, and I love it. I love it. You know, weapon triangle is interesting in the base games, but I love that they're doing something new with it, making it have a new effect that really changes how you think about player and enemy phase because of the break preventing counter attacks or future attacks. I think that's a cool mechanic. I can't wait to see how they use the mechanic, how they design around it, and it's going to be fun to have a new way to think about the game, and you know, I can't wait to see the new strategies that emerge out of this mechanic. If they execute it properly, I think this could be awesome. And finally, number 5, it's a new Fire Emblem game, and regardless of whether it's good or bad, it's awesome to have the series back after 3+ years since Three Houses. It looks like a return to a more simple and streamlined gameplay and narrative experience, and that might not be appealing to everybody, but that's okay because there will be more games and remakes in the future that scratch the image anyways. Let's just embrace this game as it was meant to be, a celebration of 30 years of Fire Emblem kicking ass and have fun with it, alright? January 20th is only a month or 2 away, and also, goddamn, it's Chloe high. I'm sorry you had to see that. I apologize. I'm sorry, Mechaverse. Thank you for watching. To top out the presentation, I have one question for you.
Are you subscribed to Pavis Gaming?
I just realized you can't click on this. It's on the fucking video, but I'm sure there's a link in the description. Thanks for Mecha for having me on. Hope you enjoy Fire Emblem Engage.
Thanks to all of you for your contributions. I couldn't include all their thoughts in one vid, but if you want to hear more from any of them, I put their channels and socials down below. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.